I mean, this is probably one of the greatest obstacles, but the challenge is that no one really wants to deal with it and no one wants to hear it either. Driven Mofos, welcome back to another episode of The Underestimated Entrepreneur. Let's talk about the biggest obstacle that is getting in your way to achieving the results that you want, and it's the thing that no one really wants to hear. Now, this is super tough. I remember years ago, let's go back 20 years, I'm this jughead fucking nugget idiot of a kid, okay? In my early 20s, I thought I was like the smartest person on the planet. I thought I had it all figured out. I wouldn't listen to really anybody. But when I looked at my life was shit. I was drinking all the time. I would go to a mate's house after work. They'd all sit around smoking weed and stuff. I would blow every cent that I had. I would buy cars to impress others, and then I'd be in massive amounts of debt and I could hardly even survive or live. You know, I remember freaking out having to pay the smallest bills. Not because I didn't have money, but because I spent every fucking cent that I had. And then I would blame everything else. I would look outside of myself and blame things. I would say, well, it's because my parents weren't wealthy. It's because of my job. I need more money. Then I would go to the gym and I'd look at the big dudes and I'd go, well, it's because they're on steroids. That's why they're bigger than me. And really the truth was that I was just a bitter dick, right? That's the scientific term, is bitter dick. And most people in our society are just bitter dicks because they look outside of themselves and blame everything else outside of themselves. They look at their staff and they go, the reason why my business isn't where I want it to be, it's because of staff. And it's not because of staff. It's because you're a shit leader, a shit business owner, and a shit manager. That's really the truth. Now, if you've got shit staff, then fire them and go find someone good. Oh, but Michael, it's the economy. It's hard to find people. Shut the fuck up. That is victim mentality. Just close the business down, go get a job, right? I say this every week to somebody. They're like, but you just can't find good staff. And I'm like, yeah, cool. There's 27 million Australians. There's 8 billion people on the planet and you can't find someone who's good to fill the role that you've got. Are you kidding me? The truth is that you haven't worked on your business in an effective way. You're not a great leader. You're not a great manager. And I asked them, how much money have you spent learning leadership and management skills? Oh, well, no, I haven't. And I'm like, cool. So you thought your ex-boss was a dickhead and you went and started your own company. And because you didn't know how to manage and lead, you then became like your boss because that's how you learned leadership. And so you became a dickhead. Either that or you learned from your parents. And let's say that your mother is passive aggressive. So she won't say anything. She'll just let things ride. And then all of a sudden she just snaps and flips out about something. And as a kid, you're like, what the hell did I do wrong? But that's a leadership style that maybe you've learned. Okay, maybe your dad's just aggressive and he just fucking snaps all the time and he's really short-tempered and he's always in a rush. So now you're a business owner and you're always in a rush and you've got this short-tempered, fuse where you just get pissed off at everybody all the time. That's how most people lead and manage people, which is why most people don't have effective businesses and why most business owners are burnt out, stressed, and tired. Okay, now let's look at the majority of the population now in Australia are obese or overweight. So it's something like, it's over 50%. I think it's like 60 something percent. Now I hear people say all the time, it's just because you can't get good food. Good food is expensive. It's cheaper to get Maccas. I'm always busy. And then they blame something outside of themselves. And this is the difference between the high performers, the real driven mofos out there, which is probably you. Now, when I'm saying this, I don't want to attack anybody. Like I'm not here because I'm walking on water, right? I've got my own shit. I'm growing, I'm trying to become the person that I know I have the capability to becoming each and every day because that's life. Life isn't about who you are. It's about who you're becoming. And most people become more frustrated and more shit in their own life as they age because of this key critical factor. Okay, you look at most people, if they're angry at 30, they're even more angry at 40. Then they're even more angry at 50. And then by 60, they're angry all the time where it rains and they walk outside and they go, oh, fucking rain, fucking footpath. I can't believe the council hasn't fixed this. Shit, my bin hasn't been emptied by 9 o'clock. They listen to talkback radio and everyone complains. Okay, and that's their life. Why? Because things compound over time. Results compound in a good way, but they also compound in a bad way. So everything compounds over time. Okay, time is a multiplier and it will multiply shit habits and it will multiply good habits. So this here is the key obstacle and one of the greatest obstacles that all humans have to overcome. And that comes from looking in the mirror and saying, you know what? The greatest obstacle in life is me. The greatest obstacle in my business is me. The greatest obstacle in my health is me. And so one of the greatest gifts that I had was when I was younger, around that time, I looked in the mirror and I thought, you know what? I want to have more money. I want to be wealthy. And I thought, you know what? Fuck, I don't have the rich family. Well, what am I going to do? How am I going to change it? Okay, I don't have the job that I want. Well, what am I going to do? How am I going to change it? I looked at my body. I was pretty ripped back then, but I wasn't fit. I wasn't healthy. My body was breaking apart and I was only 21. And so I realized that something had to change and it was me. And that's probably one of the biggest obstacles that people have to face in their own life. And it's very confronting for most. Most people won't do it. I've had friends of mine for years that I just choose not to hang out with. And I choose not to hang out with them because every time I spend time with them, they bitch and moan about what they don't have. They complain about all the shit that's going on in their life. And every time I try to help them, they say it's not me, it's something else. It's the economy, it's the government that are the problem. It's my wife. It's my wife. My wife's holding me back. You know, she never lets me do what I want. I just say, can you just do me a favor? They say, yes. I say, cool. Can you just grab your hand, use your right hand? And then I go, cool, now just slip it down the front of your pants and tell me what you feel. And I watch their face go, oh yeah, fuck, I get it. Because most people blame everybody else because they lack the balls to admit to themselves that they're the problem. So if you don't have the things that you want in your life, the best thing that you can do is ask, how do I change? You don't change the outside world, you change the inside world, and the inside world is a direct reflection of the external world. Do you know today I noticed that I was busy. I was running around and I was being busy. And I stopped myself and I thought, why am I busy? Why am I running around? Why am I doing all this shit? And what I realized was it was me. It wasn't my team. It wasn't that I had all this work on. It was me. And it wasn't that I wasn't prioritized. I had prioritized my time. It's just my time was absolutely cranked minute by minute with work. And I thought, you know what? I like being busy. I have created my value and my worth on being busy, not on outcomes, not on achievements, just on being busy. That was my learning for the day. And I went, fuck, this has been going on for 30 plus years almost, where I just stay busy because I feel like if I'm busy, then I'm valuable. Now, I only realized this morning, but that wouldn't have happened by stopping myself, questioning myself. Hang on, why am I busy? Is this the life that I really want? And I knew that I was 100% responsible for the way that I was acting and behaving. So I took responsibility for it. And now that I realized it, I went, well, hang on, that's not the life that I want. So what would I do instead? Well, I'm going to cut down some of this work. I'm going to go potentially hire somebody else. So let's put together a job role because I've got to delegate some of this work. I can't be running around doing shit all day long from the moment I wake up to the moment that I go to bed. And my value, my self-worth isn't based on the amount of craziness that I have in my day. Okay. So every day we're getting lessons and learnings to become better. But if we don't take responsibility and accountability for ourselves, then nothing changes. And even if it does change, that individual will fuck it up. I have watched business owners hire the best manager. And you know what? That manager leaves in 12 to 24 months because they go, fuck this, I don't want to work with that clown. Right? Because they're not going to devalue themselves when there is a business owner who can't take responsibility and accountability for the operations of the business and the way that they operate as an owner. Even if a person has the right people, the right opportunities, and everything going right around them, the individual that does not take control of themselves will fuck it up for themselves. So today, I really wanted to talk about the greatest obstacle in life that you're ever going to have to face and ever going to have to deal with is going to be you. And if you can stop and take accountability and responsibility for it and make changes to it, then your life will change. But how do you do that? It comes down to two key things. You've got to have clarity. You've got to know what you want in life. You've got to know where you're going. And then the second thing is that you have to set your own standards to life. If you're living life and your life is not the standards that you want, then you have to change them. And you set those standards. When I hear people around me bitch and moan and complain that they're living in someone else's standards, my wife doesn't understand, my husband doesn't understand, I really want to do this, but I can't. And that's like a 2-year-old. Why would adults hang around with a 2-year-old and then take them seriously? Okay, my niece and nephew, when they were 2 and 3, I didn't really listen to them. They believed in shit that wasn't true all the time. And most adults believe in shit that's not true. They believe that they're the victims of everything. Most adults. They believe that they can't change. They believe it's everything else outside of themselves. That's like a child that believes in the boogeyman and won't go to sleep. Most adults are so fearful and scared. They wake up in the morning, they worry about, I don't have enough money. Fuck, I don't have enough time. I'm always in a rush. I'm always busy. I can't believe it. It's the government. It's the economy. Maybe I'm living in the wrong state. Maybe I'm living in the wrong country. Maybe it's you, motherfucker. Maybe that's what it is. And maybe you need to change. Now, I'm not saying that that's you, by the way, because you might be listening to this going, what a prick. Okay, but that's good because it probably means I've hit a nerve, which means that there's something in it that needs to change. Now, for some of you as well, you're crushing it because you've been part of our community for a long time. You may have come and done my events like Thrive Time. You may be part of Business Odyssey and you're always growing. And I reinforce that over and over and over again. The better you become, the better life becomes. It's not the better life becomes, the better I become. It's the better I become, the better life becomes. But the thing that most people do not invest in is themselves. And if you're not investing in yourselves, it goes to show that you don't care about you. When I see someone who has a $50,000 car and complains about having to spend $30 on a book, I know that that person has the self-worth of dog shit. When I speak to people on the phone and I see that they have a 60, 70, 80 or $100,000 car that they drive around in, nice, beautiful car, yet their mindset looks like trash, it tells me so much about that individual because they don't want to spend the money on themselves because they value the car more than they value themselves. It's crazy. So just remember, the greatest obstacle is always you. If you use life as a reflection of yourself, you will grow and expand like no other. And in 1 month, 2 months, 5 years, 10 years, hopefully you'll shoot me a message and just go, holy shit, dude, you were right. Now, I know that there's a lot of you who have done my events before who know that this is true because it has transformed and changed your life. Because what I know is that without clarity and without standards, things start falling apart. Okay, and that's why I build my events, because it helps people keep stepping up their standards and it keeps people clear on the road ahead. I know that with every level of growth, life becomes cloudy, it becomes challenging again, and that's why you need to reset your standards, create clarity again, and off you go. That's why I still use the tools that I teach at my events. I use them almost every day. The same as this morning when I picked up that pattern of behavior. I use the tools that I teach. Why? Because they work, and they're probably the best tools on the planet to be able to do it. Anyway, Driven Mofos, have a great day. Keep kicking ass. Remember, raise your standards, make sure you have clarity, and keep pushing for growth. The biggest obstacle is always going to be you because the external world is a direct reflection of your internal world, and the more you change the internal world, the more the external world will change. Have a great day, Driven Mofos. Keep kicking ass. Most people waste their life, and I just don't want you to be one of them.